My jealous sister tried to frame me with a nasty rumor at school, so I went no contact. 10 years later, she contacted me again. I, a 27-year-old female, hosted my rehearsal dinner last evening as I'm getting married tomorrow. However, my mother is very upset about an incident that occurred at the dinner. It ended with me kicking my sister out of the wedding after humiliating her, and now I'm questioning whether I am truly in the wrong as my mother claims. To understand the situation better, let me provide some context about the relationship between my sister and me. Jennifer, my younger sister by 2 years, has always harbored a deep-seated dislike for me. I've never given her a solid reason to hate me, but she has been this way since she was 15. Before that, we weren't particularly close, but at least she wasn't actively antagonistic. My dad treated us both equally and reprimanded her whenever she annoyed me. On the other hand, my mother had a soft spot for Jennifer, perhaps because she was the younger child. Whenever Jennifer and I fought, my mother would tell me to let it go because I was the older, more mature one. I hoped my mother might eventually change her stance, but it seems that wasn't the case. Jennifer and I continued to clash until I finally cut her off during my senior year. At that time, Jennifer was a sophomore and quite popular. Out of nowhere, she decided to spread a nasty rumor about me, ruining my reputation. I don't want to delve into the specifics since it was a long time ago, but to summarize, she falsely accused me of stealing various items that had gone missing at school. Several thefts had been reported, which were later discovered to be the work of a new janitor, not me. Despite this, Jennifer spread a rumor that I was a kleptomaniac, which gained traction quickly due to her popularity. This led to severe bullying and name-calling, making my life extremely difficult. I even started skipping school to avoid the harassment. Eventually, I decided to find out how this rumor began. After some investigation, I was shocked to discover that my own sister was behind it. It was such a cruel act that I decided to publicly confront her in the cafeteria. I felt it was fair to publicly address her wrongdoing, considering she had publicly humiliated me first. When I asked her if she was the one spreading the rumors, she arrogantly admitted it. This led me to unleash a torrent of her secrets in front of everyone. How she had two-timed her ex-boyfriend with his cousin, flirted with our housekeeper's son, who complained to our parents, and even her habit of not showering during the holidays. After exposing her in front of the entire cafeteria, she became the laughing stock of the school. I felt justified in my actions because she had brought it upon herself. The fallout from that confrontation was intense. We had a huge fight at home, exchanging horrible insults, and it almost turned physical, but our parents intervened in time. That was the last day we spoke to each other. We started ignoring each other completely, even while living under the same roof. When I moved away for college, I was relieved to be away from her. Even during visits home, I avoided any interaction with Jennifer. A decade passed with no communication between us. A lot changed over those 10 years. After our college graduations, neither of us wanted to see each other, so we made sure to visit our parents separately. We respected this unspoken agreement until 2 years ago when my father passed away unexpectedly from an aneurysm. During his funeral, Jennifer and I decided to put our differences aside for the sake of our mother. We started spending holidays together, which was awkward, but our mother tried to manage. I was grateful that my fiancé, Jacob, was a part of these family gatherings, which helped alleviate some of the tension. Despite the strained relationship, I decided to invite Jennifer to my wedding, encouraged by Jacob. Initially, I was against it, but Jacob convinced me that it would be nice to move past our old issues, given that a decade had passed. I invited her to the wedding, but not to other events like the engagement party or bridal shower, which were for close friends and family. When Jennifer received her invitation, she thanked me and expressed gratitude for the opportunity to put the past behind us. I didn't suspect any ulterior motives and thought it was time for everyone to move on. Currently, Jacob and I are at our chosen wedding venue, a hotel a little distance from the city. We've been here for 2 days. The day before yesterday, most guests arrived, and we had a welcome party for everyone from out of town. During the party, Jennifer seemed to be enjoying herself, taking photos with me, which made me feel good about my decision to invite her. However, that changed the next morning when Jacob came to my room with a letter Jennifer had sent him. We were staying in separate rooms due to superstitions, and Jacob had received the letter around 1 a.m. The letter, written in Jennifer's distinctive handwriting, was shocking. She wanted to keep it a secret between her and Jacob, which was already troubling. The contents of the letter were even more alarming. Jennifer detailed her animosity towards me, flipping the narrative to make it seem like I was the one who had started hating her and bullying her. She claimed that the high school incident was my fault and added more lies about me supposedly hitting on her boyfriend and causing their breakup. She described me as a nightmare to live with and said she only attended the wedding to prevent Jacob from making a mistake by marrying me. Jennifer even included a proposal to elope with Jacob, claiming she had fallen for him and that the universe had brought us together just so she could find him. She ended the letter by saying she would wait for him in the parking lot after the rehearsal dinner to discuss it privately. Jacob, visibly sickened, showed me the letter and apologized for convincing me to invite her. I didn't blame him. He had meant well, wanting to clear the air. I was furious. Jennifer had pretended everything was fine and tried to exploit my trust. Jacob and I decided to expose her. We agreed on a plan. Jacob would signal Jennifer by asking for whiskey on ice, which would be the cue for her to leave the event. After dessert at the rehearsal dinner, Jacob made the request, and Jennifer excused herself, thinking she was about to meet Jacob. Instead, Jacob and I made an announcement about the letter and its contents. We told the guests that Jennifer was waiting in the parking lot and invited anyone who doubted our story to join us. The guests followed us to the parking lot, where Jennifer was caught off guard and tried to flee. It was chaotic, as everyone now knew the truth. I sent the guests back to their rooms except for my mother and my in-laws. When we arrived at Jennifer's room, she was packing. She tried to attack me, but Jacob stopped her and I told her to leave immediately. My mother took the situation hard, breaking down and asking Jennifer why she would do such a thing. Jennifer didn't respond, packed quickly, and left. My mother, still upset, confronted me. She said she understood my anger but felt my actions were unjustifiable. She argued that I should have handled it more maturely, like an adult, instead of creating a public spectacle. I lashed out, accusing her of always siding with Jennifer and caring more about her feelings than mine. My mother admitted Jennifer's actions were terrible and that she shouldn't have pressured me to invite her but maintained that I had sullied our family name by involving the guests and making it a scene. I didn't care. I wanted revenge on Jennifer and I felt I had achieved that. The next day, I asked my maid of honor and bridesmaids if people were still talking about the incident. They confirmed it was shocking but would be forgotten by the wedding. I asked for their honest opinions about my actions, and most felt it was my choice how to handle the situation given Jennifer's behavior. My mother has not spoken to me since the incident, and I feel oddly guilty. Maybe my approach was juvenile, but I wanted Jennifer to feel as badly as I had. It's not my fault she wrote that letter in the first place. So I ask, Aita for humiliating my sister and kicking her out of my wedding after she tried to sabotage my relationship with my fiancé? Update 1. As I'm getting married tomorrow and staying up late, I had to address this. After discussing with Jacob, I realized that while my mother's perspective had some validity, my actions were my choice. My mother and I eventually spoke, and she apologized for her behavior, acknowledging that she had only considered things from her perspective. She admitted that Jennifer's actions were unacceptable and said she would not speak to Jennifer until she sincerely apologized. We ended the conversation positively, discussing our excitement for the wedding. Update 2. Jacob and I married last week, and I hoped the drama was over. However, Jennifer continued to cause trouble. She made a Facebook post claiming that she suggested Jacob elope because I was a terrible person and she wanted to give him a better life. She also fabricated that Jacob had been hinting at wanting to be with her. I trust Jacob completely, and this post was clearly false. Relatives who knew the truth defended me, and the post was quickly taken down. Update 3. After receiving advice from comments, I spoke with my mother about Jennifer's behavior. My mother revealed that Jennifer's issues stemmed from being compared to me by a former boyfriend. This comparison, along with the high school incident, compounded Jennifer's resentment. While it's too late to change the past, I hope someday we can resolve our issues. For now, Jacob and I are looking forward to our honeymoon and moving on from this chapter.